Thursday. May Fool's Day, the first day of May. Now, um, where we gonna go with this? What we gonna do with this? What we about to do with this? We here alive. It's Thursday. I'm gonna see who comes on. I got to get the groove going. It's May 1st. Hopefully, I don't know where you are in the world. Could be morning, afternoon. It could be night, or it could be Friday morning. Wherever you're in the world. Thank you for joining. We coming to you live. Okay, you know I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do some trolling because that's what I got to do. We gonna talk about this sorry fakers. We are coming to you live, 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 live. See what we got. I gotta send some messages out because I gotta put. We are back, 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 and we doing the thing, 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 thing. Come on in, come on in. Let's see what we got. I am live here today. Glad to have you. Hopefully, we'll see if anybody comes on. If I don't get enough of a buzz, I'll only be on for a half hour because I'm not gonna waste time today. But if we get some heads in here, well, I'll be on for an hour. It all depends on what I see. So far, I got one viewer so far. We're gonna see if we get more people through the totality for the morality. But anyway, it says Hebron. You know who I'm talking about. Hebron. Oh, this was a trip out situation. Let's see what I got. What's happening? How you doing? Thank you for coming through. Pleased to see you. Hello, how are you? I said hello to you. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for coming through today. Hope you're doing all right. Let me know where you're coming from. Well, where you from? Because before I answer, I gotta know where you from. I don't want to say nothing wrong, so I just want to make sure I know where you from. Because usually people don't ask me that. I gotta ask where you at. Me too. Me too. On the other side of Portsmouth. What part? Where you at? Where you at? Yeah, I'm good. Are you? I'm good. Having a good day. Had a busy day though. Mhm. Thank you. So tell me about yourself. I'm curious. No, I'm good. I'm good. just been walking today and went to Costa. I'm good. Just had kind of a day though, that's all. But I'm good. I'm here now, so we are all good. I'm good. Okay. What part of Mexico? Okay. I used to live in Texas. I wasn't too far away back in the day. All right. Thank you for coming on today, though. I appreciate it, though. I don't know how many people are gonna be on today, but I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate it. It was hot. It was muggy, and it was Little Mexico. It was very memorable. There's a lot going on. Livestock rodeo, different backgrounds. It was an interesting place. Hurricanes. The property was great. You get you a good job there, you can look like a king. So, oh, okay. She live in Mexico too. I have one. That's a long time ago. Long story. Back in the East Coast. Long story. Please hit the like up too. If you happen to be in here, please hit the like. Okay, what part she lives in? And does she like it? That's more importantly. I'm just curious. Depends on where you live in any place. Okay, well, I appreciate you coming through. Thank you for stopping by. Hopefully, you'll come back another time. Thank you for visiting. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate you coming through. Appreciate you taking the time of your day. I really means a lot. I'm always appreciative of anyone who subscribes, anyone that comes through, gives me conversation, because I know there are millions and millions and millions of channels that people can go to and watch live streams. And anybody that chose to come see mine, I appreciate it. And I definitely welcome it. So thank you for taking your time out to come visit me today. Some days it's a pretty good amount of people in here. Some days it's have a great day. Some days you come in here, there's a lot of people. Some days it's not a lot. It's all subjective. Sometimes it's also when the messages goes out, but it's all, anyway. The question is, are you happy about LeBron and the Lakers being eliminated? And if you happen to be on, you want to take the poll, feel free. I'm kind of like Charles Barkley. The world is back to normal now that LeBron is going to be away for the summer, and it's good for basketball. And it doesn't have to be all about LeBron and the tiredness of that, because it is getting nauseating. It really gets nauseating, especially with the standery. And I saw Dwight Howard talking about if he comes back from 3-1, no more arguing about the GOAT. Well, he didn't, so that's the end of that. It's more than just that. But Anthony Edwards has arrived, and I'm going to be from now on talking about Anthony Edwards probably the next time I do a live stream. don't want to be stuck talking about LeBron James because that has come and gone. 3 straight years. Well, the last two they won the game. 2-12 the last three. Let that sink in. And three out of the last 4 years didn't get out the first round. Let that sink in. Got to 2 rounds deep to the Western Conference Finals 2 years ago. Let that sink in. That's it. Since the bubble ring, they got a playing trophy participant. That's all he's got to show for it. His Los Angeles Laker era has not been that memorable. Because aside from the bubble ring and that playing Walmart trophy that they got, he either missed the playoffs a couple of times, first round casualty, and nearly broomed, and it's not been that memorable. And he tagged up with Anthony Davis, went to Lucas. So this is not going to be a good season. Sorry. You don't get a pass for stat padding and coming up short. You still got to take that L. So, and I'm with Charles Barkley. And I know it sounds like trolling, but hey, Charles Barkley called it. You can't turn a 304 situation to a housewife. Sorry. And this is kind of like what they're doing with the Luca. And Nico Harris looks really good right about now because that situation, they just won one more game than Anthony Davis and the Mavericks. They just went 5 more games. Didn't really show much. And if that's Luca, they're gonna have a problem unless they get that front fixed and they get rid of some parts. So they got a lot of work to do. And JJ Ridiculous as a head coach, my man, if you ever pull that 5 man stun again, you really put your team under. Yeah, I saw what you did this last game, and you couldn't even crack 100 at home. And you were worn out in the fourth quarter again. Because you don't have, as Shaq said, no dogs, and you don't have anyone that really feels the situation. And Austin Reeves, the third wheel is more like the sixth wheel. Stop trying to make people into some superstars when they're not really that deep. That's the lesson taken about the Fakers. But I will give Shannon Sharp his due. He said, not alive. Keep the moment alive because the Lakers are done in 5. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. That's not how we go by that logic. Because you know what? If I go by someone just making the playoffs every year, well then what's that say about Tim Duncan? You want to use that logic, and Tim Duncan is better than LeBron James. You want to use that logic? Then let me tell you that about Tim Duncan. Because if I use that notch, he did that notch a whole lot more. I'm not impressed. This was embarrassing. If you're a Laker fan, you're embarrassed by this season. If you're a LeBron fan, you got excuses. There's the difference. There's a difference between a LeBron fan and a Lakers fan. Ain't no Laker fan I know happy about today's results. Because they got manhandled, they got mosh pit, they got served. And they had no. And when Rudy Gobert is hanging on the rim looking like the second coming of Wilt Chamberlain, oh, you in trouble. You are in real trouble. Well, I don't know how you could say that because Jason Tatum is trying to prove something right now on the other side. He's mad because he feels like he disrespected. He's mad because he wants some respect by his name. So they on a mission. And a lot of people ain't thinking they got a chance to beat Cleveland when it comes down because we know they're going to end up playing Cleveland. They're going to smash the New York Detroit winner. They ain't not even in Boston's class. So we already know the heavyweight fight awaits. I don't go be adding because you make the playoffs and that's gonna give you some notch. That's like Aaron Rodgers. Well, if I win, if you don't win, you don't win. We don't go by because you just made it. I'm a Miami Heat fan. I'm not gonna sit there and say, "Oh, don't sleep on Cleveland." That starting lineup. If you were asking me, and I take the names out the equation, I just go by based on what I see with team. I tell you, Cleveland OKC for the next 2 or 3 years. Just keeping it 100. If I was LeBron James, I'd try to get back to Cleveland. They got a squad. They got a squad. If they get to the finals this year, they're going to be in there for the next 2 or 3 years. I'm telling you that now. Because only Boston is equipped to beat them. And anything else in the East is just faking the funk. There's nobody else that I'm worried about. Everybody's playing for third place in the East now with the Pacers, the Knicks, and Detroit. And I think the Pacers have probably got a chance after that, but the gap between Boston and Cleveland and everybody else is pretty big. West is going to be interesting now. Minnesota waits to win the Golden State Houston. I think Minnesota can win the next round. I think Ant can get to the Western Conference Finals. I really do. I really do. And that's how I look at it. I'm not. I'm just seeing what I see. So I wouldn't mind Boston and OKC though, because I think that could be a nice rivalry for the next 2 3 years too. We know Tatum and Brown want to win 2 or 3 rings. We already know, and no one is giving them no love. No one is paying them no mind. So this is why they could shine. Please hit this likes, hit this poll up. Appreciate you coming through. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Gonna be here until I see what we're working with. Some days just a little bit more low key than others. It's funny how I hit the mother load yesterday, but today not as many. But that's okay though. If it ain't meant for me to be on as long today, I'll cut it short. We'll see. Think I'll give it another 30 minutes if I don't see more people coming through. But glad that you came through, Mike. Thank you for coming through. Some days it just be a bit much. I hope it ain't Laker fatigue or Laker hangovers of people crying because the most sorry fakers got their butt knocked out. You never know. Some people just take it personal. They can't help it. They like, oh, my team is gone. And then people are just mad and they hate on my team. Yeah, Darvin Ham, he sucked. And guess what? They got stuck with JJ Ridiculous and how that worked. Darvin Ham had him playing defense. They actually played defense with Darvin Ham. They played not, except for game 2, Minnesota averaged 100 plus points every game. And so when I added up, let's see, 106, 105 last night. So they averaged a what? About 110, 12 against the Lakers. Held them under 100 points in 2 of those games. Uh-huh. Yeah, they ain't gonna talk about that. This was a this was a beat down. All this talk about what we can be, we gonna Well, I'm Mad Dog Russo. You missed the so-called guru. He ran your mouth on ESPN yesterday. Stephen A. knew it was over. Most people knew this mess was over. JJ Ridiculous had already pulled the plug on you when he said, "I'm only going with 5." They did not deserve to win this series. They got down. It was a wrap. See, I want the same energy when others lose and don't get deep. Keep it. I got news flash for you. Smart and the Hornets don't go in the same sentence. Just so you know. How long you been waiting for hope there? Now, I got to go back to when Baron Davis was playing there and Glenn Rice Dale Curry. They spin a Kemba Walker post. They been. I like Lamar Ball all right, but he don't stay healthy and he stat pads. And let's see, he averages 27, and they lucky to win 27 games. It's got a Bradley Beal in the making. That's how I look at the Hornets. Jordan couldn't do nothing for him, and they just he's not going to the Lakers. But you'd have to give up half of your team to get that to happen, and they're not going to do that. And if he does go to the Lakers, that means that's the end of LeBron James. But I'm told you, if I'm Luca, I need to get a defensive guy. My mom. Okay, that's fair enough. That's nice that you got both sides that you cool with. Giannis ain't going to no Lakers. I ain't heard nothing about that. He go to the Clippers probably. He'd be scary in Golden State while you jabbing, and he would be a freak in Houston. If he went to Houston, cause that's all they need. Get that freight train. He's with Houston right now. The way Udoka respects defense and the way they play, be a problem. Since we're playing make believe where Giannis could go, it's gonna be somewhere in the West. It ain't gonna be nowhere in the East. Cause he went to Miami, that just takes all the team away pretty much. Yeah, his behind hammy bothering him. And people got all kinds of excuses. When take that L, take that L. He 40 years old. Of course, the hammy gonna bother him. The old man out there playing a game that is caught up with him. His stats didn't look so pretty last night. And do what with him? No one trusts the Lakers after getting Bronny James. What did they do with Dalton Connect? Connect ain't been the same since they tried to trade him off. That boy has some spring in his game, and he was lost like a deer. Like someone took his left eye and he was lost. They messed up with Connect. They traded that cat and they weren't the same. They're not going to be nothing until LeBron is gone. We don't know what Luca can do until LeBron is gone. That's an understatement there. Telling me Bronny James isn't good is like telling me Donald Trump's hair don't match his head. Duh. Tell me something I didn't know. That was a wasted draft. Well, it was done for PR, father and son. And I like the cat as a man because he what he overcame. Respect him as a man, but as an NBA basketball player, we laughing. See, that's what some of these heads on these channels get it all twisted. So you could talk about my son. We talking about a job of grown men. We talking about going to work. We not talking about your son. We talking about as a player, a professional basketball player. He had no business being in that league. JJ Redick had to sit there and swallow and take that. He had to take that L. He's playing a kid against grown men. He ain't ready for that. He's probably about 2 years away, and he's gonna have to come off the bench. He ain't ready for that totality. Average, average, because he didn't improve upon what Darvin Ham did. Yeah, they got a little bit higher seed, but guess what? 4-1 first round, run your team all 40 minutes, play you don't give your starters, you don't know how to rotate, you don't trust your team. That is incomplete. If you are second, third, first, third, fourth seed, you should have a team you should know your roster from 1 to 8 to 1 to 10. I never touched that in the video because I do videos. If you watch my channel, I never touched the Kevin Gates thing. I did see Kevin Gates at the sideline though. I did see it, and that was cold saying that that Savannah looked like Lamar Odom. That was cold. There's a lot of distraction where LeBron's concerned. It's just that he old. He can't defend no more. You get physical with him. He's not that good of a 3-point shooter. He drives, but they're not the kind of drives of the past. He gives you a couple blocks, a moment, but he can't sustain that. He can't take that no more. He see the difference between him and Tom Brady. Tom Brady could have played longer, but he got out. Just because you can don't mean you should. You understand that? You ever heard that term before? Just because you can don't mean you should. Just because you can drink don't mean you should drink. Just because you can smoke don't mean you should smoke. Just because you could curse don't mean you should curse. You know where I'm going with this? So he might want to consider plan B to get up out of there because it's going on 3 straight years. He can't finish. They don't have finishers, and they don't have enough to cover his behind. They thought, okay, well, we give it an AD and we get someone who can sell jerseys and Luca. The problem with Luca is that Luca dribbles too much, don't play no defense, and if he ain't hitting, hitting his shots and what have you, he's a liability. And he has to have a front court that can cover his behind. He has to have a guard on the perimeter. They have to have pieces in place. They don't have that. They can't rely on Luca and LeBron to be the facilitator at the guard spot, and that's what wore their butt out against this team because Minnesota was like a big old heavy bag that kept pushing them and wearing their butt down. And when it came crunch time, they had nothing. They were done, and it showed. Charles Barkley told you stop getting excited about a couple weeks. Rudy Gobert looked like Wilt Chamberlain and Shaq last night. 27 and 24. If that dude plays like that every other night, they're winning the championship. And I ain't stutter. That's the best I seen him play because they don't have nobody in the glass. You see with no Anthony Davis, don't start no mess because I am not tolerating nobody talking no smack. When Rudy Gobert is clapping on you like that, you know you need some work. They got hurt. They got beat up bad, bad, bad. It was a bad look. And Rudy Gobert going off like that, ugh, man. He hanging on the rim on you, you gonna lose. You know. But they got out physical. They Twinkies. You seen Twinkies in a rapper? That was the Lakers last night. They meant to do good, but they can't. So I don't know who you are, and I'm not dealing with no trolls. So I'm not high, and you guys to go. Say stuff that's not cool on here, and unless of course you have a question or you're gonna be respectful, I can't deal with that. So we don't do trolling. They are. They got all cupcaked up last night. You can't tell me that them big old bodies be pounding on you. And you remember who did they beat the first game of the season? Let's see if you remember very well. Who did they beat game one in LA? It was the Timberwolves. Who was the leading scorer for the Lakers? It was Anthony Davis. What did he put on their head? 40 and 12. Think about it. Now fast forward to what you just saw the last 2 or 3 days. And I had to hear Mad Dog Russo talking about, well, they only beat them by three. They only beat them by two. They only beat them by. They beat them. All that talk about you got to finish the game. You got to finish the game. We ain't playing. This ain't the church house where you do horseshoe and the sack race, and because you came in third place, we will give you a ribbon. They looking for ribbons. That's what Laker fans are looking for. They looking for a ribbon. And I got a message for you. A ribbon then got pulled and plucked. You Twinkies is getting unwrapped. But got plenty of time to go on vacation now and cry and whine. JJ Ready talking about I'm gonna know where we are in June. You gonna be on somebody's couch, if not your own, watching it with on your flat screen. You know, they got a lot of audacity, and they just got exposed. And he thought he was gonna come in off the streets and make Darvin Ham look obsolete. That's what he thought. So you ask me what I give him for a grade, I give him a C plus. Good enough to get to the first round and get your butt knocked out in 5 games. Lose 2 games at home, give up 100 plus points, and get held under 100 for a couple of games. That is not the resume that you want to start with. And because you got rid of Anthony Davis and you brought in Luca, and then you had to defer to a 40-year-old who also had to bring his son in who had no business playing, and then you got outplayed, out hustled. How do those plumbers look now, JJ? Because right about now, you should be hosting a plumber gig. Because you can't be that competent to run a 5 man rotation and your best player is over 40 and you're still stuck and hoping that somehow he can turn it on when it's obviously not there. So this is what's up. So what's the day after? after hear all this stuff about them. 57% is saying they happy. Well, there's a lot of Laker fans. That tells me all I need to know. Because that thing should be way higher than that. After all that running of the mouth they did, all that hype. Invasion of Laker fans. Because that's why he got his own podcast now. He done upset so many people on ESPN. They don't want nothing to do with him. Mike Wilborn and clapped on him. Him and Stephen A. I don't think that's gonna be anything time soon. And he and Shaq and Kenny and Ernie and Barkley, I don't think so. Because he's already doing something like that. Maybe if he was more neutral, but that ego of his is too big to get through that door. So I don't think that's gonna happen. If his ego wasn't so big, I would agree. But that head is too big. He should humble himself, but see, this is the problem. He leaves today tomorrow. He should go into ownership because that's what it's ultimately about. But he's so scared that he worried. He's so sensitive that people are gonna forget his NBA mark. Like he think if he quit, that people are gonna forget all about him. That won't happen for another 10, 15 years though. Then there's always a backlash, and then somebody comes along and people talk about him. But people aren't gonna forget about it. He's worried about it though. Because at this stage, he can't win another ring. He's not even close. That's probably what's eating his behind him more than anything. He's not even close to another ring. He's not. He's 5 years removed from his last one now. He's not close to another one. And he's the side of 40 years old. So it's like, what are you playing for? So he ain't gonna be doing no little chat, and he ain't gonna be in doing no little ASPN. He's gonna be, you know. I think after next year he should consider hanging it up. I know he's got a contract to get that money because that's all he's about. Get that money, then he should consider getting himself a team. Other than that, everything else is just wasting time and energy. Yeah, lost by 7 last night, so no, because it's not his team no more. They building around Luca. How you gonna have motivation when you didn't just gone through another situation? And this is different because unlike in the past, when he teamed up with Wade to figure it out, and he knew he was gonna be alpha once he got the keys, and then we went back to Cleveland with Kyrie, and Kyrie left him, but he still had the keys. And unlike when he went to LA and he got AD and he still had the keys got took from him this time. So no, his motivation ain't the same because all he could do is at best have one good run. That's all he get. Them days of going to the finals 20 years in a row is done. His Laker career has been very uneven. He broke the record there, scoring, you know. But as far as them being a title contending team, no. His mind may want to be motivated, but he ain't. He can't do nothing with that. I just don't see it. Well, Well, he's got a guaranteed 3-year deal for $7 million, so they'll probably either keep him or put him in the G League. I mean, if he gets released today or tomorrow, they have to eat that contract. Ain't nobody gonna pick him up. He's got G League written over him for the next 2 3 years, and then maybe in a couple years they might get him off the bench, maybe, because he knows good and well he ain't got no business starting on nobody's squad. They lost a pick trying to get the kid. That was not smart, but it was for PR though. That was a strictly PR move, and I get it because it made for headlines and sensation. It's like Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey, and except he ain't no Ken Griffey Jr. He ain't no yeah, he ain't he made Austin Rivers look like Steph Curry Jr. by comparison. I mean, it's just not good. But I know why it was done. It's like a trick photography of the NBA. If you ain't been motivated the last 3 years, I don't know what to tell you. I told you the last 3 years. So let me do this in totality since they lost to Phoenix in 2021 in the first round. A grand total of 4 wins and 16 losses. They're 4-16 since the bubble ring. So that should, and they didn't make the playoffs one of those years too. So 2022, they had fired Frank Vogel. So there you go. No playoffs. So 4-16 post bubble ring, and when you're not making the playoffs, and got out the first round once, which was 2 years ago. These straight losses to a bigger dominant presence. That's their problem. You can't teach size. You know, that's what's up. So we'll see. And when I do a video, I might, if Golden State wins their series, I'm gonna do the Jimmy Butler versus Luka Doncic, just to see. I'll do that one, but that's only if Golden State wins. If Golden State doesn't win, that video's not coming out. Who got the better end of the deal? I think Jimmy Butler would have been a better fit for the Lakers, and Luka Doncic would have been a better fit for Golden State, style wise. But I'm just saying. But Jimmy Butler is balling for Golden State. That's why I said that. Because that's the kind of road dog that the Lakers don't have. They got some puppies. They ain't got no pit bulls. There's a difference. They got some sniveling. They got punched in the mouth. They got hit upside the head. I told you, Rudy Gobert is hanging on the rim against you. You in trouble. And that was embarrassing. But they don't have anything to stop it with. Couldn't put a boo boo. They had a boo boo. They couldn't put none over it. If you brawny, you just sit there in the cut. You gonna get your money. But you got a long way to go. And you can't be that oblivious and act like you belong because you're not that good. And your dad's old. And that's a reality. And they got too many problems. I mean, Jarvis Hayes ain't the answer at the box. They just, Austin Reeves let them down come money time. Please continue to hit that like, hit that poll if you happen to be on. We're gonna give it a few more minutes because it got nice and quiet in here. I'm pretty quiet lately, so we'll see what we got. Please hit like, subscribe, hit that poll question. If you're on, feel free. If you're not on, okay. I'll get a few more minutes. I'll see if anybody comes on. Okay. See what we're working with. Times. It's coming down to Boston and Cleveland as a two-man team. I know you're gonna get excited about the Pacers, but I'm gonna tell you something. That Giannis ball like that is why I don't trust Indiana. Gary Trent Jr. is why I don't trust Indiana. They're susceptible. They don't play no defense. They can score with the best of you, but if you can lock their butt up in a half court game and get them frustrated, they don't have no answer for you. That's the reason why I don't trust the Pacers. Nobody out of Indiana, New York, or Detroit moves me enough to think that they're better than Boston or Cleveland. And it's out of Boston and Cleveland to me. And it's a heavyweight fight. Those two are legit. If Boston's healthy, they're going to come out of there. If they're not, I think Cleveland's got the nod. But that's why I look at it. Everybody else is playing for third. And the difference between second and third is like almost night and day because I don't care who comes out of third in the East. They're not better than what I've seen with Boston and Cleveland. So that's my take on that. I think that's how I've been saying it. Cleveland and Boston is the best two teams. So if Boston stays healthy, they're gonna be tough. Yeah, but they need another piece to start, and they need another cat off the bench. They're a starter and a bench cat away. They're kind of like, if I'm honest with you about them, Cade Cunningham aside, they're kind of like the East version of Houston. That's who they kind of remind me of. That's what they remind me of. They're a team that, with the right pieces, the turn knobs, they're a problem. But you got to be very strategic with that. They got a lot of upside though. So, and I like Cade Cunningham a lot. I think they are this year's version of the Pacers, and I think they can beat the Knicks. Because if they beat them in Indiana and bring them back to New York, I think they can do it. The difference is that Udoka, Bickerstaff got the Pistons playing really good, but they don't have a closer besides Cade, and that's a problem on offense. Houston's problem is offense. Their defenses can play good, but they don't get in general because Jalen Green is a headache. And Sagan is nice. Van Fleet, they got to play like they did last night. If they can make Golden State crunch them up
Get at Curry, get at Jimmy Butler. If you can crunch them up, and since Steve Kerr don't want to play Kamingas, beat that butt in the glass. You beat that butt in the glass, maybe you get a Rudy Gobert situation where Houston is just hanging on the rim. I tell you, the Houston Golden State series and Detroit New York series don't have to be over. Because I can make a case that the Pistons have outplayed New York and Houston's almost outplayed Golden State. I can make that case. Them series ain't over. And the Knicks are vulnerable because they only go 5, 6 man rotation. So Brunson gets hurt and Cat has one of his off games. New York is in trouble. If Golden State don't get Curry or those guys don't get going, I don't know who Nick Rochford is. I mean, I appreciate you coming through. I don't know who that is. You out there enlighten me. But that's all I'm gonna say about that. But I tell you, Detroit and Houston could be a teams that you don't want to have to deal with the next 2, 3 years. Well, Dylan Brooks is gonna hit it. But that's not all that's bothering him. What's bothering him is that Buddy Hield is inconsistent as all get out. What's bothering him is that Jimmy Butler aside, they don't have another score. But Pazinski is decent. But if he has another game like he did, they're in trouble because Houston can buck with them on the ground and can get physical. I'm telling you, they don't have. I'm gonna say something that you ain't gonna want to hear, but they gonna miss Clay Thompson in these kind of series, especially with another outside shooter. If Jimmy Butler can't get it, because that's a problem. You need easy buckets. You know, they're gearing up to try to make love tough, life tough for Steph. His thumb is bothering him, but it's more bothering him with that squad he's got. Because that's the kind of game last night they played like garbage. They got ate up. And that's the kind of game I know Houston has in them. This goes to show you that if they put their minds to it, because they had them where they had them in Golden State and they let that game get away. So, you know, Houston is a feisty team. They can get in them. So it's not over. I hope that series and that Detroit New York one go 7 games. Because I don't think we're seeing, I'm not sold on Golden State and New York finish them off in 6. I'm not. No, that's an insult to Clay Thompson because Clay Thompson had a career. Buddy, Buddy, Buddy Hill wishes he was Clay. You could say that as Clay got old, Clay was a better defensive player. Did you not see Clay's 37 points second quarter? Did you not see the 50 piece when he was 12? Hit that and he was Mr. known as Mr. Game 6 or 7 for Golden State in the playoffs. What has Buddy Hill ever done to match Clay's resume? Please tell me. Please don't say that because you ain't seen Clay against Houston when they beat him. Game 6, Clay. Everybody know Clay would go off. Clay used to go off. Buddy Hill ain't never gone off. He good for a couple weeks. Clay had a career because Clay's defense. Ask Ja Morant, game 1, 2022, when they won that game in Memphis. Hit that left hand block when Ja was going to the hole. That was Clay. Steph had a block in that game too on the sideline, but that was a Clay block at the end. Clay was bad. Clay's a guy that I consider borderline top 75. Buddy Hield's a guy that I consider top 275. You see the difference? There's a difference. One guy I might consider top 75, the other guy I might consider top 275. There's a big difference, about 200 difference. And that's being nice. Because Buddy Hield is nowhere near Clay. He wishes he was. But most of the time, he play like he's stuck in Clay. They're not the same. Clay got the raw end of the deal because Dallas got rid of Luca, got AD, and AD got hurt, and Kyrie got hurt, and I don't know. So that's all I say about that. Okay, I got 10 more minutes before I go. We're doing 10 more minutes We're doing an even hour tonight. I will probably be on earlier tomorrow though. That's the plan. I might drop the one about Anthony Davis because I want to see if people think that he, you know, or I'll talk about what I see tonight. We'll see what happens tonight. But these Lakers are not here anymore. That's gonna be tough for some people. Some people gonna have LeBron withdrawals. They're gonna be all sad in their feelings. 50% on this poll tells me all I need to know. This is hilarious. He done got old and he's done. Please continue to hit the poll question, hit the like. I had never heard Buddy Hield and Clay Thompson put together. That's the first time I've ever heard that. I don't want to laugh, but I want to crack up when I heard that one. Buddy Hield wishes he was like Clay Thompson. He wishes. He wishes. Clay's getting his jersey retired in Golden State. Buddy Hield, he gonna probably play for about three more other teams when it's all said and done. What's up? I'm on for about 10 more minutes because I've been here for an hour. So if you got something to say, let's make it crack. I will be on tomorrow. But okay. Yeah, well, that works out perfect because I'm only going to be here for about 8 more minutes. I came on here about an hour ago. How you doing today? What's up? I know you're not sad about the Lakers. Please don't tell me that that hurt your soul last night. What games? Tell me what games. You talking about last night? Last night, Houston did what they supposed to do. That's the best they. If their offense, if Jalen Green, if he ever wakes up, Golden State's in trouble. And the defense for Houston is too physical. That's what they got to do. They can't sit there and let Jimmy Butler dictate, and they can't let Steph get going. They got to go at them because they are guards. They got to get physical with them. They got to take them out their sweet spots. I didn't because they should have won game four. They blew that game because if Jalen Green scores 10, they beat Golden State. Let that sink in. Two more points, they win that game. They were right there for the taking. They were right there for the taking. And that is a game they let slip. They've been in the games, aside from game one. And when they've beaten Golden State, they've been pretty sound when they beat them. They can. Your Udoka knows how to coach. It's just that you gotta have the pieces in place. That's all. And as far as the Lakers, well, you know, they JJ Ridiculous got out coached. He looked bad. Luca was spent. LeBron was spent. LeBron old. He need to go sit up and retire. Austin Reeves was on a milk carton because he didn't really show up. They got beat up on the perimeter. They was too physical, too strong, too bold, too black, too everything. Got their butt toe up. Out here making Rudy Gobert looking like he Wilt Chamberlain and Shaq, hanging on the rim. They don't have a center. There's Twinkies in the box and getting served on the perimeter. Bench is whack. Curry had 17, so no, it was over 20. But the reality is that Jimmy Butler, if he has a bad night and you can make him, shoot around, is a tendency that you can get up under him. He was spent. Steph was definitely spent. So they made him shoot ugly. They did have it did end up nicer than it was though. But Houston can do that. They've been getting physical and they just ain't been putting no points up. That's the only reason why this series Houston ain't won. I don't do trolls, so if you talk like that, you definitely won't get no play on here. Yes, 21. And they were, again, when Houston applies that pressure, Curry don't get as much time to hide to go run and duck and hit those threes. And Jimmy Butler, he has to get to the free throw line. He has to be aggressive and be on the height. If he's not on the height, he's not a factor. So they took the sweet spot from both of them. And then once you take them two out the equations, and guess what? They can be had. Yeah, but he had a triple double like old Jason Kidd triple, but you didn't mention Jamal Murray, who balled out, and you didn't mention that that team is actually stacked than what they say on TV. Because if Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Jamal Murray play like that, they're going to the finals. And Christian Brown. That if they get that starting four to play like that, no one's going to beat them. They have been underachieving. That's why Mike Malone got fired because they let a lot of those chippy games go. Let me tell you a true story. They weren't gonna catch OKC, but they would have been number two in the West if they played like they supposed to. They would have been at worst second seed. At worst, that should have been a 60-win team. They lost about 5 or 6 games of being cute and not finishing, and that's why one of the reasons why Malone got fired. Yeah, Jamal Murray got it in him, so it's not just injuries. They just mentally got injuries. No, they don't play defense. What they did is that they balled up. The Nuggets got no excuses. They got a dominant front court. They don't play to their strengths. Aaron Gordon can take you in and out. Michael Porter Jr. can take you in and out. Okay? Jamal Murray in and out. Jokic. You should be able to be at worst a 60 win team. There's no excuses for anything. That's why I have a problem with them. And I'm not buying no excuses because they showed they made even Zubats had a great game. They made Kawhi look ordinary and Harden like he'd already ready to go to the club. Norman Powell. They can't beat him like that. They can't beat him like that. That's what makes Jokic's situation so a bit overrated because you got the potential to roll a lot of teams. So I like to say they had more hurt feelings. I ain't gonna say he's got it in him. Jamal's got it in him. Because when he's balling like he's supposed to, he's one of the 12 to 15 best players in the league. I said that. When he plays like he's supposed to, it felt more like 88%. He too slow. He got two left feet. That's his problem. And see, if he don't do all that acrobatics and shooting and dribbling and sucking the clock out, he wears himself out on offense. And then on defense, he's a liability. And he too slow. Teams get physical with him. They bang him up. They get at him at the top. They wearing him down. That's why Nika got rid of him. That's exactly why. And he didn't try to hide that his deficiencies because they were on display. They were on roller skates. He couldn't do nothing with Denver. And they set him up this year too because he's the Rudy Gobert thing at the top, and then he got his pocket picked quite a few times. So he got his work cut out. But they got to build a team around him. They got to get a point guard. They got to get a low post presence or two, and they got to get some bench. They need about 3 or 4 pieces to make it his team, or they gonna have early exits again. right, that's about my time. I've been here for like an hour, and I will be back tomorrow. I'll be back on a little bit earlier than I was today. So, everybody that came through, appreciate you. And thank you for coming. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. We're going to talk about what happens tonight. We'll see what happens and we'll be on it. So, appreciate everybody. Thank you for coming through. Stay up. I appreciate you. Thank you.